As we mentioned, Governor Snyder says one way to create jobs would be to completely get rid of the state's business tax and replace it with another one.
That's the topic and the focus of a Lowell lawmaker, and we want to go back out to Lansing now, and 24 Hour News 8's Tony Tagliavia live taking a close look at this. Tony?
Good evening, Brian and Susie. It was 3 years ago that lawmakers in this building put together a new Michigan business tax that they said would be simpler for businesses. Many business owners and critics say it's done the opposite.
Our budget will include the elimination of the job-killing Michigan business tax and replacement with a 6% corporate income tax.
Lowell State Senator Dave Hildenbrand has already proposed a law that would get rid of the Michigan business tax.
That will help us to retain the jobs we have, allow them to grow, and also allow us to attract new jobs to Michigan.
He says he hasn't formally signed on to the governor's plan for a replacement, a flat corporate income tax. But he says he likes the concept, in part because it's much simpler than the complicated existing tax. The Democratic leader in the Senate says there's not enough detail yet to judge the entire business tax plan.
But we are eager to take a look at anything that really makes Michigan more competitive and creates jobs.
Her concern? She says dropping the current tax and replacing it with the flat corporate income tax would grow the state's budget hole from $1.8 billion to $3.3 billion.
How you go about balancing a budget like with that kind of a hole in it would require severe cuts to public safety and education.
Hildenbrand says he doesn't look at the tax change as an increase in the state's budget gap.
I want to see our budget built from the ground up. The governor talked a lot about retooling and rethinking and reinventing government, how state government provides the services to the residents of Michigan. We don't know what that's going to cost.
Hildenbrand says he does believe that the budget can be built from the ground up in time for the May 31st goal set by the governor. Governor Snyder also touted another issue that Hildenbrand has talked about in the past, and that is a Michigan law that requires every item in a store to have a tag showing the price. Snyder highlighted that as one of the laws that he says is antiquated. We'll be following the process on that issue as well. Live at the Capitol in Lansing, Tony Tagliavia, 24 Hour News 8.
Thank you, Tony. Here in the newsroom now, we want to give you a quick look at what that Michigan dashboard looks like online. You can find this on the state's website, but we've got a link set up for you at woodtv.com. Take a look. This site is essentially a report card, as the governor said, for Michigan. It's broken up into 5 sections: economic strength, public safety, quality of life, health and education, and value for government. The last tab there, it's called Dashboard at a Glance, and when you open it up, you can see a one-stop shop where Michigan ranks in all of those areas and whether or not we're improving or are we failing. Again, we've got a link to this site and all of our live analysis and stories online right now at woodtv.com. You can also see more of the governor's speech tomorrow, starting at 5 on your 24-hour News 8 Daybreak.